Welcome to SwarmCast, the marketing hive for pest control pros from coast to coast. If you're tired of your competition bugging you and want to grow your business like a well-built colony, you're in the right place. Each episode, we'll break down the latest marketing trends, expert insights, and proven strategies to help you exterminate the competition and keep your phones buzzing. So strap in, pest bosses. It's time to swarm the market and take your business to the next level. This is SwarmCast.
All right, welcome to SwarmCast. We have Paul Kleen on this, and his son in the background waving the flag. That's Leo. These guys are cool. You're going to want to listen to the cast. Why? Because if you're not using AI, you're skeptical. You're like, no, I've already done that. Didn't work. You're going to want to sit on this and listen to what Paul has to say. He spent and managed how many millions of dollars with Google?
And 100 million.
Yeah, guy's a Forbes Technology Council member. It looks like he's ran several other companies. Like me, he failed in his first business. Mm-hmm. We're like connecting like this. The only thing is, he's a beach guy. I'm a desert rat. I wish I was at the beach with him. But you're going to want to listen of how this is going to change the pest control industry with a product called Pitchit. He came up with this. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Thank you very much. Super excited to jump in.
Okay. When I saw that your last name was Kleen, I thought of Mr. Kleen. I'm Mr. Kleen. I usually wear a hat for these kind of deals. But anyhow, the hook is you reached out to Swarm Pest Control Marketing, the SwarmCast. We're all about AI. All about it. I've been talking about it forever. But this audience is pest control owners, and there is so much resistance to change. And there's a lot of fears in the AI community, like about AI. But it's nice to have a CEO, an entrepreneur, come on with technology that's benefiting corporations right now, how they're doing it. Now, Pitchit is a cool company. I've seen you guys around. So tell us a little bit about how you started this thing. What came to mind? You're like, man, I'm going to do this. What happened?
I fell into this because in my previous life, I was running an advertising agency and did a ton of PPC ads, something like 100 million or more in PPC ads.
What? And that was like million?
Yeah, it was.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Insane. That's a lot of money, man.
It was insane.
Jeez.
And that's really how I made my first million. And one of my customers said, you should get VC money and you should build a software that can automate some of the stuff that you're doing in the funnel post lead being generated. Because that was a big chunk of the consulting that I was doing was after the lead's generated, I'll charge to set up all this automated workflow systems, right? But the AI was nascent. This was before ChatGPT, and it wasn't very good. And so that was always the big problem is you'd get a lead for a client and they would sit on it for 24 hours and then it was gone, right? So, and you probably know this as a marketing consultant. It's a very common issue. And so I raised money, about 3 million in VC money, and then started working on building Pitchit. And we met this call center, the biggest authorized dealer of T-Mobile. He owns something like 200 stores physically across the US. And he was getting into direct-to-consumer ads and generating a bunch of leads. And he said, I'll be basically your pilot of this platform. And so we got in and started building it with this big T-Mobile center and sold just tons of phones and internet products through advertising. I don't know what his budget was, but it was thousands a day for sure. And we were automating as much as we could about the conversation. And then a bunch of topics came up like TCPA compliance and outbound dialing voice agents that sound good instead of sounding like a robot, and all these edge cases around what if they have objections, what if they're not a serviceable address, how do you do price quoting? And it just was expanding into a platform. And so that's where most of our early feature requests came in, is from this call center trying to I would say, trying to assist their humans in the call center with as much as they possibly could, and plugging us into their existing workflows inside of, I don't remember which CRM they use. I think they built it in-house, right? But we do work with a bunch of people that are on Go High Level and HubSpot mostly. And some of the Fortune 500 companies we work with are on Salesforce. And so a lot of it was around just plug into their workflow, automate with AI as much of those workflows as you can so that the people are, their goal was get it to the point where every lead gets an immediate touch point by an AI agent. And then
So
all of our,
really, I'm sorry to interrupt.
you're good.
So tell a pest controller what is a touch point. So comes into a call center, what would be a touch point? Like, give me like a couple of them.
Yeah. So, really common use case was someone filled out a form and they want a quote, right? Touch point would be the first call. So within seconds, they get the call saying, you just fill out this form. We wanted to call and see if there's a good time for us to come by your house, right? That's touch point one. If they don't answer the phone, which was very common, touch point two is a text message piggyback that says, we just called, we're X company. You did XYZ on our site. When can we get a hold of you on the phone to schedule an appointment, right? Um, if they don't reply, an email. That'd be the third touch point, right? So it's basically each attempt to start a conversation with them. That's what I'm referring to when I say touch point.
Okay. And I just wanted for our listeners to know what that is, because when we hear touch points or AI, a lot of people their minds just kind of do this.
Mm.
They're like, what is he talking about? This sounds like theory.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what an SMS is. Everybody knows what an email is. Is it able to run advertising as well? So let's just say somebody triggered an event. Is it able to like remarket to them as well? Are you doing stuff like that?
That's not something we do, but
Not yet. Okay.
the tools like Facebook and Google do have really good ML and
Mm-hmm.
AI tools inside of them already,
That's right.
which is
That's right.
why I never really wanted to go after that space because every time
Mm-hmm.
I started getting a cool idea, it was free inside of Google Ads. So I just was like, all right, we're just going to focus on the mid funnel stuff and let the top of funnel belong to another company that's focused solely on that. But yeah, we don't get involved in optimizing the advertising.
No problem. You've exited from that. You're done with that.
Yep.
It's really just your platform and how it enables. Now, when I used to do leads for insurance companies,
Yeah.
they had a certain time to respond, or that's gone forever.
Yeah.
Now I got perplexity up on my left. I could probably get you the answer how long you have to respond to a pest control lead. We'll come back to that. There is a certain amount of time to respond to a pest control lead before they're going to call somebody else. It's an
Yeah.
emergency service typically. Okay.
Hmm.
Or I need that lifestyle customer. I don't want to do it myself. Your
Hmm.
system comes in there and it's responding within, you said seconds, or you
Yeah.
like instantaneous?
I mean, it's basically as quickly as electricity can run from wherever your CRM server lives to the nearest GPU and then back, right? So you're talking about at most 1 or 2 seconds before a call gets initiated.
It's amazing. And that's what it takes. We have this generation where they're not going to wait 5 seconds. They're not going to wait 10. Immediate gratification. They want service now.
Yeah, they
Absolutely.
do.
Yeah. So what have you seen? Like now we talk about case studies. Okay. You came into this T-Mobile operation.
Yeah.
Where were they? Where are they now? And where do you foresee you helping them out further in the future, or have you moved on?
Well, so they were at $0 in direct to consumer. They didn't do any. It was all in store. And when we were fully ramped with the AI automating as much of those workflows as we could, at least last I checked, they were doing 200 sales a day, which for them, it's somewhere around 15 million in annual revenue that's recurring. And so the numbers before and after were huge, and their ad budget along the way started to balloon. Again, last I checked, it was 2,000 or 3,000 a day that they spend. And it started at zero, right? So this was like a completely new channel of sales revenue for them that historically just did not exist. And so we were a part of that, right? The advertising played a big role, their call center played a big role. their partners that worked with them, like ADT, AT&T, T-Mobile, were a big part of that. But we ran a lot of the AI piece. So how do we enable humans as much as possible? Because that the amount of leads that they got per day was in the thousands. I mean, it was a really scaled operation.
It just blows my mind. Okay, that like this is going to blow a lot of people's mind when they hear this, right? They're like, "Well, that's just for phone service. That's an easy sell." Let's talk about when we're talking about. Let's go back to pest control for a moment.
Yeah.
Well, I need to like talk about what kind of pest, what kind of
Hmm.
package. Is this thing able to dive into CRMs and schedule an appointment?
Yeah. So this is how we got into the pest control space is we found out that they were cross-selling while on the phone. And so it might be T-Mobile or AT&T that drove the lead, but while they were on the phone, they were bundling home security, home warranty, pest control, everything they could because they knew that this was a homeowner, right? And so we saw these conversations happening on our voice agent and inside of the SMS and email agent threads where they were talking to them about bundling different things. And that's when we started pursuing APIs, serviceability, price quoting, etc., for various different products in that catalog. So that if someone asked, what's the least expensive or what is the best pest control service at my specific address, that the AI agent could flip from, okay, I'm not selling internet anymore. What's your address? Let me look up what pest control you've got. Okay, here's the 6 companies that we see as able to come out to your house within 24 hours. Here's the different price points. Here's the differentiators about them. Which one do you think makes the most sense for you? And so it can very easily fetch serviceability and APIs and pricing and then communicate those to an end homeowner apartment renter,
Okay,
right?
this is next level. Okay, this is blowing my mind. Is there a like? I know that when you hear the big marketers talking, they're like omni-channel, omni-channel, right? On your marketing, social
Yeah.
media, paid per click advertising, do this, do that. This is omni-channel within selling for one customer. If you were selling for one and it could like key into others, now it could almost be another revenue generator for somebody.
Yeah.
Is
So
that what
think
they're doing? Are they doing that now?
in what way? Explain that and I'll try to
Okay,
answer it.
let's just say somebody moved into the area.
Yeah.
They have to get a couple things right. They have to call the power company, hook their power up, hook their gas up, hook their cable up, their internet, and any one of those you're saying could tie in and go, you know what? Have you probably need some pest control
Yes.
and sell the lead to a pest control company? Is that what you're telling me is happening right now?
That's exactly what they're doing right now. And so the in
Wow.
various different ways. So some of the
Wow.
broker dealers are getting the lead to agree to be called by pest control, and then others are just transferring them warm straight to that pest control company. And then the pest control company is closing the deal in real time. And then others are just scheduling a meeting on a calendar for that pest control to call them later. So it depends on the customer of ours, but that's exactly what's happening today.
That's a new business model. Like, when we think about the pay per lead model, right? Google just kind of copied Angie's List, right?
Yeah.
It's been out there for a while. Seems like they like something, they just copy it. And here it is. And I've been in the Google game as long as the things converged from yellow pages,
Yeah.
right? Uh, but you can speak with authority. You've done hundreds of millions on that platform. So
Yeah.
I feel like the small guy over here, but this is new. This is impressive. Now I'm thinking, you got me thinking, Paul, like, okay, I'm a pest control company. I
Mhm.
want to jump on the bandwagon of being another omni source AI go to for pest control. How do I get in on that? Is there a way to get in on that?
Yeah, I mean, our platform can be used by marketing agencies and resold to their customers so that the marketing agency owns the technology, which might be challenging for a person who's never worked inside of a SaaS product before, right? And so agencies and people who have experience working in those often are the ones who own the systems and then set it up and integrate it with their CRM so that you talked about this earlier, but basically all the conversations that are happening, all the actions that are happening, how do they get back to HubSpot or Go High Level or wherever, right? That generally is integrated through webhooks or through Zapier. And so whoever owns the Pitchit account generally has been trained on setting up those systems so that there's a two-way sync. And so I would say if someone like you wanted to get involved in installing Pitchit into a pest control company, that's basically how it would work. And that's how all of our utility concierge companies sign up today. They've got a property manager. That property manager gets 100 new moves a month, right? But that's not the user of Pitchit. It is the utility concierge national brand who owns Pitchit and then installs that one property manager as like a user on their account. And they set up all the systems for them.
This is just blowing my mind. And I am following this. Like I'm thinking about, I guess where my mind went in the background while you're talking. First of all, I'm all excited. I'm thinking about who could really benefit from this right now in my mastermind group. Who could benefit from this? Because as we do in our mastermind group, we take one guinea pig
Yeah.
for fun, put them on the system, and go, okay, how'd that go? If
Hmm.
you're open to that, I'm thinking of about a $20 million a year pest control company.
Yeah.
They're growing. This would be huge. It's the fifth
Yeah.
largest city they're in. People are moving in and out of that
Yeah.
city all day long. I would love to have that conversation. Now, the only thing that you haven't mentioned, I'm familiar with Go High Level where we use that.
Yeah.
We use, I've played in HubSpot. We've played in some of the other ones out there too. In pest control, they have pest control software to run their pest control business.
Okay.
Some of them use Zapier, some of them don't.
Okay.
Some are closed loop. So part of this, I wouldn't mind connecting the dots with you with somebody that already has those integrations into the top 10. The top 10.
Yeah.
That might, and I come from a family of software engineers as well.
Nice. Okay.
And so that might take that process from a heavy process and make it happen quicker. Because when you're coming into an industry, and this happened to me when I was a generalist, which I still have a generalist agency over here. I got a little bit of life put into that. But when you go into pest control, they're not using the same CRMs. They're not using Salesforce. They're not using HubSpot.
Yeah.
They're not using even, I mean, to some degree, Go High Level, some degree. But what's nice about this is we're not talking about, okay, let's use AI for the sake of, hey, this is going to upsell, cross sell, do this on an outbound. What I'm hearing is this is inbound triggering stuff that's going to take place. And it could come even from somebody that doesn't even care about your pest control business. Because I don't want to pay Google their fees anymore. They've been going up 20% a year for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
The CPAs, the cost per acquisition, the cost per lead has gone up to where these guys are like going, I might as well just hire a guy to go put some flyers on people's doors. It's
Yeah.
cheaper. It's
Yeah.
cheaper. You know, and AI is changing things with generative AI responses, which those are getting a ton of inbound, right? And the conversion rates are skyrocketing on those generative AI responses.
Yeah.
But having said that, I'm just seeing a lot of things go across my opportunity for the pest control industry. You're going to see Pitchit. You're going to see Pitchit. I can't wait to see you guys at in Orlando. We should do dinner and talk and do some connections here. But I'm thinking of a couple opportunities for you right now, Paul, on this podcast. But I'm connecting the dots
Okay.
because we're a marketing agency. Swarm is,
Yeah.
and I know who we're paying for leads. We're
Yeah.
paying Google. We're
Yeah.
paying Bing. We're paying Facebook. We're giving money to all these engines out there. And now here's something that things are coming together.
Yeah.
They're coming together. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about you said you got into this space. You your first client was T-Mobile, like a T-Mobile kind of a scenario.
Yeah.
What has been happening in the last 12 months that you're excited about for Pitchit?
Well, we've expanded into Latin America and the Caribbean, signed a deal with the biggest telco carrier there called Digicel. And they own what I would say is a monopoly over those 26 countries that they operate inside of, to the point where they supply so much of the telco infrastructure to the businesses and residences inside of those areas that they basically become consultants to those businesses, selling all of the technology into them. And so where we're going now is, if you have like a hotel that's owned or somewhat affiliated with Digicel, and you want all the people in that hotel to be able to order room service, right? In many, many ways, that is quite similar to asking for a menu of pest control companies that are available, right? You've got your room number, you need the credit card, you've got a list of products that are for sale in certain hours of the day, so you need to know what time of day it is, and then you need to know what their order is, and you've got this catalog that you can fetch and communicate to the room. And so how do you get them on the phone or in a text message conversation or in an email to enable that sale without calling the front desk, right? That's basically. Oh yeah, you've got my son back there popping in.
See him back there. He's eating healthy. He can come on in, man. I think that's cool. What's your name?
You want to tell him your name? Leo. He says, "I'm Leo and I've got a banana." Bye, he said.
That's awesome. And he's got long hair like dad,
He
unlike
does.
myself, Mr. Clean. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
that's
pretty cool.
that's like we're expanding into hospitality. This is the same exact way that we expanded into water, gas utility, energy, pest control, home warranty. Is a current customer sells to a lot of different people, and the technology doesn't need a whole lot of change to it other than what's the catalog that we can fetch in a live conversation. But as long as there's the same dynamic of, we need to get a hold of someone through multiple channels of communication in order to sell them something and qualify them, then it's probably a good fit for our platform, because that was what we originally designed it for.
You know, I think that people are connecting the dots at this point. They're like, okay, I see this. A lot of
Yeah.
these guys are like, how do I tap into this? They're thinking, what's the setup? How long does it take to set this thing up?
Yeah.
What are you seeing as setup cost, and do you have to kind of run it through a bigger entity, or is this something like, let's just say it's $1 million a year pest control company, and they want to get this
Yeah.
set up for lead flow?
Well, so they could get it live in the same day that they sit down and start it. So this is not the reason we raised venture capital money. Was we wanted a no code, couple of clicks solution to launching the campaign. And so if a pest control company said, I want to get into AI, not use Pitchit, it is possible to do. It's just that you would need a subscription to an LLM. You would need uh, to build integrations with Gmail and Outlook and Twilio and Voice, and you'd need to code a framework around it, and then you'd need to integrate the APIs for all the pricing, and it would just be horribly time consuming. But when you come to pitch it, since that's already built, all that we do is, there's 4 steps to your campaign. You name the campaign, you choose if it's going to be a list that we're going to basically broadcast to all at once. Like if you went to a conference or something and you had 600 people to qualify all at once, or if it's a workflow, which is like someone filled out a form and they need immediate one-to-one communication, right? So you choose the type, broadcast or workflow. Then you tell us which channels you want the AI agent to communicate on, and we give you check boxes for voice, SMS, email, and WhatsApp. Um, and then you put the follow up SLA. And so, again, this was designed to mimic what a human would do to get a hold of someone. So if they don't answer the phone, then a human would text them, then they would email them. And if they still don't answer, then they would follow up the next day, right? Up to X times. And so we ask you the same thing. How many times do you want us to follow up with each of these channels until we give up on this lead? And then what days of the week are you open if they get transferred in? And what hours of the day are you open? And we will execute all of those follow-ups within that time frame. And so once the settings have been created, it's done. I mean, you can build that campaign in 3 or 4 minutes, and then it's just sitting, waiting, listening to any lead that comes through your website, or any list that you upload to reach out to it, and it will execute them completely hands-free, and it'll transfer calls directly to your company only after all the legwork of getting a hold of someone and qualifying them has been done.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Um, Cost. Give me an idea of like, is it a subscription cost or is it a per use cost? How is it costing based?
We don't do a per seat subscription because what we've learned is that most of our customers don't want a bunch of seats on the platform. And we don't do a retainer based subscription either. Instead, what we do is a performance based $1 a lead. And so and that's because we know that no matter where the human labor is coming from to do all of this work to get a hold of someone, you can't get it done for cheaper than $1. And so $1 beats everybody's human related labor costs. And if you're doing 50 leads a day, then your Pitchit bill is $50. If you're in a season where there's not very many people ordering, then your bill's significantly less, right? So you basically only pay us when we're actually qualifying leads for your company.
CEOs love that stuff, right? It's a pay per performance model, which is
Yeah,
brilliant.
that's
Brilliant.
how we do it.
Love it. As opposed to the seat model, which I hate. You know, who doesn't hate the seat model because you're always paying for seats you don't need. And who's
Yeah.
tracking that? Who's canceling junk when you don't need it?
Well, yeah, and VCs don't like this. They don't like that there's no recurring nature to the software, but at the end of the day, the market wants AI to get paid only when it's contributing to the bottom line. And so that
Yeah.
this is what over time our customers have forced us to offer. And so that's what we offer is $1 a lead, no matter who you are. Big company, small
Wow.
company, buck a lead.
Brilliant, brilliant pricing model. Brilliant. I love it. Ton of value. So for the ones that were listening, they're like, hey man, this is gonna cost me $1 billion to set this thing up. You just said four easy steps. You know,
Yeah.
you kind of laid it out.
Yeah.
It's a you're only gonna pay if you got a lead. They're already
Yeah.
doing that with some of these other players as
Yeah.
much as sometimes these leads from I want to say the players that give those leads, but they could be in upwards of $100 or
Yeah.
more, and they're
60
willing
to
to
$100. Yeah.
and they're willing to pay it because they're making profit on it. So imagine just paying $1 for a lead. That's great.
Yeah.
So
So
okay, so
if you got like a
yeah.
$60 lead and you've got to do a bunch of work to get a hold of them, right?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, if a day goes by, you wasted $60 on that lead, but you pay $1 and you didn't waste any time. Pitchit's going to do all the legwork. So it's literally a
Mhm.
fraction of what you've already paid for that lead to make sure it's not wasted.
That's amazing. That'd be great to go into cahoots with like a cable company or the internet company, going into cahoots with people that provide things that need to be set up when you move in.
Yeah.
Gosh,
That's yeah, we work with one of the biggest moving companies in the United States. And the
yeah.
way that we work with them is that we just get their leads. Who did you move today? Okay. We're going to sell them whatever we can and we're going to pay you a commission for that because you
Mhm.
gave us this lead. And then we're going to keep all the commissions from T-Mobile and the pest control company and the water gas utility who pay us
Mhm.
to sell their products. And so that the whole model is based on performance, which is why our billing is based on performance.
Well, I'm thinking of a big opportunity for you. I can't wait to talk to you offline about, which is all the above. So, and this one's kind of fun. I'm not going to say it on this podcast because I don't want to give it away, but I'm thinking of opportunities here, and it's kind of a fun niche spot that's not necessarily in pest control, but it's part of that generalist agency that I've owned for 17 years. That it just makes sense.
Mhm.
This makes sense. So you got into this. I looked at your LinkedIn profile. I mean, you've been involved. You said you had your own agency. I just love to say, hey, how did somebody get into this? Where did they come from? Can you just kind of talk about the journey from your when you became like an entrepreneur? How long have you been an entrepreneur?
Well, I failed at being an entrepreneur right when I got out of college and I couldn't
Can you
make any
tell
money.
us about that? Because people fail all the time. Tell me what happened.
Well, I didn't like any of the jobs that were open. This was like 2008 crash, and so there was just nothing available. And So I just started an agency trying to run social media posting as a service, and it just wasn't working for our clients. And so I wasn't making any money at all. And then I went and got a job at an agency, Gannett, and learned how to actually run ads and posts and how to actually do marketing for people that generates revenue so that you can get paid for it. But then I moved to San Francisco because I wanted to get into tech. And so I applied a lot of those skills to selling technology and software at a company called Frame Data. And we sold that company to Square. And after that company was sold, that's when I started my entrepreneur career again with really a lot more, not just a lot more money, definitely a lot more money helped, like startup money, but also I knew how to run a business now and I knew the trade that I was going to be offering. And so that's when I got into real estate investing, marketing, consulting, advertising, consulting, built that really big ad agency, and then got the idea to build a software product with AI when that boom was coming. And so over time, right, I just followed wherever the big opportunity was. There was a big opportunity in running advertising for SMBs when the economy was booming. There was a big opportunity for buying and renting out properties in Austin, Texas when everybody was moving from California during COVID. And then there was a big opportunity in AI. And so I just kind of like went from one opportunity to the other.
It's awesome. I appreciate that story because it was kind of partially my story. My first business failed.
Yeah, mine failed
I,
miserably. I made no money.
I started that thing, and my business partner had to be put into a mental institution. I can't make this up. He was the software engineer. I was the sales guy, and I'm left holding the bag. And so that was a dent. But there's something that kept you going, and that was my story. But in 2008, I started that agency that's now 17 years old, and I kept it going. And where's your backup plan? Entrepreneurs don't really necessarily have a backup plan. It's like
Yeah,
all or nothing,
you don't have
all
one.
or all or nothing. So you were a member in the Forbes Technology Council.
Hmm.
You like doing that, or did you like doing that?
I I did it. I liked it. You get good exposure, right?
Hmm.
And that was
Hmm.
kind of when I was doing a bunch of interviews with Fox Business and Bloomberg.
Hmm.
And so it fit the profile. It was like a big public relations push that we did at Pitchit when we first launched. And it put us on the map. And now almost everybody when we go to the conferences we do go to, most people know who we are. And so it was worth everything that we put into all the time we put into it because it's not like it's expensive to be on Forbes. It's time consuming. You got to write content, you got to post and collaborate with people to get them to give you ideas and contribute because you can't just go on and talk about Pitch It, right? I had to talk about industry
Hmm.
topics and barely mention Pitch It at all.
He's pitching some popcorn, is what I see. He's
Pitching
pitching
some
it
kettle corn. That's right.
as a kettle corn. Awesome. Well, this has been fun. I think the take home with this is people are going to see you in the pest control industry. I'm going to introduce you to a couple of them,
Yeah.
and I have some ideas as you're going into this, and even some other ideas. I think that this is just perfect timing. There's a lot of what I call people that have tried to get in this space and have just destroyed some of the trust. And so when you hear these stories and the numbers you shared, were amazing to me that you're doing this. And here's an example of this isn't theory. We're doing it right now. This is how we can do it. It's simple, and you're only going to pay if it performs. This is a win-win for the pest control industry. If it's adopted, which it is, it's adopting, and there's other players in this space. I'm curious as this goes on where you're going to be. Should be speaking at Pest World. You should be speaking. I'm not sure if you asked, but this would be a great topic to talk
I
about.
mean, I have spoken at many of the conferences that we go to, but with
Hmm.
Pest World,
Hmm.
my my head of growth, Chris, I think he just found it late. And so he applied. I think we paid for tickets only this time around.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
but like, could we get onto a panel there? I would love to. I mean, I've been on a panel at probably 20 conferences in the last 12 months or so. I've done a
Yeah,
couple of
okay.
keynotes. Some were totally free. Some I had to contribute and pay because I was a sponsor for them. But with Pest World, I just did not have time to even look at that stuff. I think we just bought tickets.
He's got something to say. He's
Oh,
like, hey
he's got
man,
Tron in the background. Isn't that cool?
it's got Tron in the background. Yeah, I'm happy to just take this thing around. We got the Tron posters. That's all. Oh man, sorry about that. That's the legacy posters back there. There's my podcasting setup. I usually have these two. There's my
Oh,
my virtual a lot
I've
of
seen
stuff.
that in
Now
the
I'm a
mirror in the
star.
background.
In the background that goes into my office. It's kind of a knock center back there.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a huge light cycle decal on this glass behind me. It's huge, like the first generation light cycle in the Legacy movie. I'm just a big fan. I think Disney should have jumped on. They shouldn't have waited so long, but that's okay. Have you
Yeah, they
seen
didn't.
the?
They should have put a lot more into it because it was really
Yeah,
cool.
there was nothing before. I mean, the creative on the Legacy was just amazing to me. And Daft Punk, come on, I wish
Yeah,
they
dude,
would.
they crushed it. Oh my God.
Daft Punk, and so they set this expectation up here. I'm not sure if I'm going to be disappointed by Aries because I'm going to be, applying it backwards, but it's going to be fun no matter what. But I tell you what, I'm excited about what you got going on, and this is I'll definitely be following you on LinkedIn, talking about some different things. Thank you for coming on the Swarm cast here. If somebody wants to engage with you, do we just send them through your website and it gets put through the AI engine as well? Is that what's going to happen?
Basically it. Yeah.
You
Pitchit.ai.
get to you get to experience it, and I think that. And by the way, I think everybody's starting to experience these kind of things. I like it. Like for example, a doctor's office. I don't want to sit on the phone for a half hour to get a doctor's visit.
Yeah.
I want to get on there, boom, done, and I want to be able to schedule it after hours, even.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I mean,
know, so
if it can answer your questions, then you want
yeah.
it. If it can't and it just says I don't know, then it's
Hmm.
worthless, and you'd rather just do the voicemail.
Exactly. I don't want to call back. I want to get a schedule. I want to get
Yeah.
it going on. So this is where the world's going. And thank you for spending the time. We are going to follow back up and around, and I'll
In
be
about a month.
posting this all over social as well for
Yeah.
Pitch It. I'm excited, man. I'm gonna be a big fan here.
We'll see you at Pest World.
That's a wrap on this episode of SwarmCast. Thanks for tuning in and arming yourself with the marketing firepower to keep your pest control business thriving. Before you scurry off, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode and leave us a review. It helps us spread like a well-placed bait station. Got a topic you want us to tackle? Drop us a line and let's keep the conversation buzzing. Until next time, stay sharp, stay strategic, and keep swarming the market.